good afternoon. Welcome to Foundation Course 4, Proof of Future Lives. And today we're doing class 10, our final class in this course. This one, I don't know about for you, but this one went really fast for me. But that's the emptiness of time, I guess. Anyway, my name is Utpala, and I really appreciate your being here and your interest in this course. This is one we can come back to hopefully many times in the future. And I guess for some of you, this is already more than, like your second or third time. And that's great. The more we practice and the more we contemplate these ideas, as well as other of the ancient teachings, they do seep into us in a way. And so this logic of Master Dharmakirti's will become more clear for us. So before we get started, let's take a moment and settle in to our chair, our cushion, wherever we're seated. Let's bring our mind into the room, into our body. Leaving aside all thoughts of the past and the future, bringing our attention to what's current, what's happening now. Notice the breath as it leaves and enters our body. Now let's just bring our attention to our own lives and the lives of those around us. And of how much suffering there is in the world from minor things like being dissatisfied with something, to stronger emotions like getting angry sometimes, or feeling lonely. feeling left out, feeling jealous. Some people are feeling tormented. They're living in places with natural or human made disasters, and they feel there's no escape. And then there's physical pain, from minor things like a paper cut or stubbing our toe, to greater physical pain like illness or disease. To more intense pain like great falls that break bones, horrible accidents, the bombs and ravages of war. And we have good moments. We have times when we're happy, when things seem to be going our way. But they always come to an end. They never last. All this suffering, all of it, it's just immense. It's heartbreaking. It's also tragic. All the suffering in the world is based on a misunderstanding, a mistake. mistake of thinking that things have some sort of nature of their own. That things could be what they are from their own side. Everything we experience is a mere mental image that ripens into our own experience. It was born from a cause of something we did or said or thought long ago. If we could realize that, if we could see that there's no me that has any kind of quality from its own side, if we could see that, we could finally make our way out of this cycle of suffering that we're stuck in right now. And then once we get out, we would truly be able to help others get out as well, to help others realize the mistake they're making. And this possibility of being able, of finding a path that could lead us out of this kind of suffering that we see and we experience. The possibility that we could become the kind of being whose heart knows no bounds, who loves everyone, who can see perfectly how to help them. That gives us a glimmer of hope in all this suffering. That thought, I can become enlightened. That thought, I can help all living creatures to get out of suffering. Those thoughts are our hope. Enlighten our heart. And give us energy to practice what we learn. And so may every moment of this time we have together today plant very powerful seeds in each of our hearts. That will ripen into that experience that is love and bliss and all knowing. And so we can be of true service to every living creature. If you'd like to join me in prayers, you're welcome. Sangye Chiran Soki Chaknam La Changchu Partu Dakni Kyapsu Chi Daki Chishe Gipe Sunam Ki Jola Benshir Sangye Drupasho Sangye Chiran Soki Chaknam La Changchu Partu Dakni Kyapsu Chi Daki Chishe Gipe Sunam Ki Jola Pinchir Sangye Druparsho Sangye Chiran Soki Chuknam La Changchu Partu Dakni Kapsu Chi Daki Chishe Gipe Sunam Ki Jola Pinchir Sangye Druparsho Sashi Puki Jukshin Meto Tam Rira Blingshin Yende Gempadi Sangye Shingdu Mikte Owargi Jokunam Dakshina Chuparsho Idam Guru Ratnamandala Kamniryataya Mi. So, any questions before we dive into our last class? I know some of you need a moment to warm up to ask questions. But also, I know some of you, probably all of you, are in disguise, just giving me this opportunity. Hi, Alexi. I think I learned how to say your name correctly. Do you have a question?
Я в чате написал вопрос. Могу повторить?
Can someone translate for us?
Can you hear me? Alexei said that he wrote in the chat, but if you like, he could repeat, or maybe he meant that he could say.
Или переводчики переведут. Переводят. Тогда у меня такой вопрос.
I have a question. If
Уберем звено, которое нас заставляет... переводчик переводит. Все, хорошо, спасибо.
Okay.
So I finally turned on the interpretation. So I'm sorry, Julia, if you already...
No. I don't know how to turn also.
Okay.
Alexei said that he wrote in the chat his question. So
Окей, тогда в другой раз. Так вот.
So I can't see it. So
я не вижу это.
Or did you write in some other chat, like?
Ты в каком-то другом чате написал, не в этом?
Maybe it's in Telegram or something.
В чате Telegram?
Well, we'll explore that, Alexi. And before I joined the class, before I signed in.
Перед тем, как я зарегистрировалась.
So if you could copy it again.
If, если ты можешь это скопировать,
Or we can plant some. Oh, I see something. That's in Cyrillic. If we remove the link that triggers rebirth, then how then will we be reborn? Either here on this planet, amidst the perfect lamas, or in the pure lands of Tushita, in order to complete our training. Bodhisattvas are not afraid to be reborn and wander for 3 great eons through these worlds. So if we remove the link that triggers rebirth, then how will we be reborn so we can complete our training? So the way this works, apparently, is that removing the causes for us to be in the circle of suffering, or I should say that which causes us to be in the circle of suffering, means we have no more training to do. We have reached our goal, either with a personal or individual motivation to get ourselves out of suffering, or with the motivation to benefit all living beings. We'll talk more about this actually in today's class, as this regards those who have seen emptiness directly, and what it is that is the cause for them to continue to be born in the cycle of pain for could be 7 more lifetimes, where they then are on the path of habituation and doing the final work to get out of the circle of suffering. So the thing that keeps us stuck here is very much the topic of today's class. You remember that the last of Master Dharmakirti's 10 proofs, we're going to look at that more closely. And let me just share the Tibetan with you. That's kind of small. in that speaker. Okay, so if you may recall, hopefully, let's bring you back up here, bring the chat. Okay, there. The first line started off like this. Tamape, chikpe rikpa chu chen. Let's consider a normal person. So someone who has not yet seen emptiness directly, right? An ordinary person. The mind of that person, rikpa, chike, at the moment of death, at the mouth of death, literally. So let's take the mind of a normal person at the moment of death. Rikpa chimard samjor te. Rikpa is mind. Chimar, into a future life. Into a future life. That little R at the end is a grammatical particle, into. And chima means future life. Samjorte means to cross a boundary, to cross a line. And the line that this refers to is the line between this life and the next life. So let's take the mind of an ordinary person at the moment of death. That mind must cross the line from death to the mind of a from death to the mind of a future life. Why? Chakchengi rikpa yimbeche. Chakchen. Because that mind, chakchen, it has desire. Chakpa is desire. Yimbeche, that it is that way. So consider the mind of a person, a normal person, at the moment of death. They will cross the line into the mind of a future life because that state of mind has desire. That state of mind in the last moment of death. So we don't really understand the mechanism of like, okay, how does desire, how does that have that kind of power to force a new life? And that's what we're going to talk about today. I I'm kind of in a dilemma because I can only share, I think, one document at a time or share my whole screen, which I don't want to do. So I'm going to stop sharing the Tibetan, but just know that when I speak Tibetan, you will be able to find it here in this document, which is on the platform. Okay. Those of you who are interested in Tibetan. But I'm going to stop sharing this right now. And now we're going to go to the Wheel of Life. Okay. So we're not going to go through the entire wheel. But we're going to talk about parts of it. So there are 12 links of what they call dependent origination in the Wheel of Life. These are the links. These are the 12 links. And so each of these images represents a particular state of mind or action that occurs. And the one we're going to talk about first is this second one here. This is called Dujekile. Dujekile. Samskara. This is what Geshe Michael translates as fresh karma. So we have here a person who's making pots out of clay. So this is, if you took the karma course, movement of the mind and what it brings. So movement of the mind, any thought or emotion, what it brings, any speech or any action. Those are all creating fresh karma. They're planting seeds in our mind, and different schools have different ideas about what that means. But they're planting seeds that will ripen here in this link number 10, which is a woman just about to give birth. The karma is just about to ripen. So Nipa Dujekile, this is the second link. And then what are these links that, see, each link triggers the next. And we're not going to go through them all, but we're gonna look at this one here and ask the question about what triggers, what are the links that are right before karma about to ripen. This one is called this one is link number 9. And this is a monkey grabbing fruit. This is Gupa Lempa. The ninth link is craving. I'm sorry, grasping. Grasping. So grasping is what triggers karma to ripen. But actually, these two, number 9, grasping, and number 8, which is craving, are very, very closely linked together. These two happen, you might say, together, not really together, but very closely together. So we've got craving, link number 8, which quickly triggers grasping, link number 9, which triggers link number 10, the ripening of karmic seeds that were planted in the past. So this one, link number 10, is really the ripening of the karmic seeds that we planted in link number 2. Okay? So the seeds that we plant in link number 2, they don't ripen unless they are triggered by craving and grasping. So that's an important concept for us to understand. Something has to trigger those seeds into ripening into an experience. And the experience we're talking about is the experience of being forced to take on a new birth in the wheel of suffering. That is the 11th link, is the woman giving birth. So why this link, number 11, Chuchik Kepa, I'm sorry, Kewa, Chuchik Kewa. Why this link doesn't happen immediately after we plant the karmic seeds is that those seeds have to ripen, and to ripen, they have to be triggered by craving, the man with the alcohol, and grasping, the monkey trying to grab some fruit. So this is the key to Master Dharmakirti's argument. Why? He said the mind has desire. If the mind has desire at the moment of death, then that mind will be the material cause. It will flop over into a mind. It will cross the line into a mind of a future life. So I put that picture up on the, it's making its way onto the platform for you. It seems to be one that's very nicely done. Let's see. I have this huge monitor, but it's at times like these when I wish I had an even bigger one, like all across my desk, so I could have everything open and show you. Okay, so the key to Dharmakirti's argument is we find it in the wheel of life. So links 8 and 9 are the triggers. So we want to know more about those triggers, because if we could stop them, we could stop the seeds from ripening. Right? Okay. So there's a definition for the 8th link, which was craving, right? And I closed the picture too soon. I stopped sharing the picture too soon. Because the definition of the 8th link, the link of craving, is Sorwe Tendril La Dene. It means it's based on the 7th link. So let me just quickly bring that back. You're so fortunate to have a teacher who is technologically challenged. My apologies. Okay, what is, here was our 8th link, right? The man drinking alcohol. So what is the 7th link? Ah, there's a guy with an arrow in his eyeball. So this is the link of feeling. Feeling. The ability to feel. And it could be physical pain like this poor fellow, or it could be mental pain, or it could be physical or mental pleasure. So the 7th link is just the capacity to feel. So now we'll go back. Here. There. Okay. So the sorwa means to feel. To feel. So based on this capacity, the link of craving is based on the capacity to feel. It is the desire not to be separated from its object. The desire not to be separated from its objects. So once we have this ability to feel good, feel bad. We develop craving, and there are different kinds of craving. We're going to talk about 3 different kinds. So the basic definition of craving is the desire not to be separated from its object, based on the capacity to feel, based on the 7th link in the wheel of life. So if we can get rid of this link, then we won't have grasping, and we won't have karma ripen, especially the kind of karma that ripens into throwing us into a new birth in the cycle of suffering. Okay. Just so we don't lose our scope of why we're talking about this. The first kind of craving we're going to talk about is called deuce. Deuce. De, this means desire. And se is the general word for craving. Craving. So deuce means desire, craving. So these names are just, they're not really all that helpful. But they are names, so if we remember them, then hopefully it will trigger in our minds a recollection of what the heck that means, desire, craving. Here's what it means. It means yu yiong lam min drelwar dupe sepa. It's the craving which desires dupe min drelwar, not to be separated from, or not to lose, yul yeong. Yul yeong means an attractive object. Yeong is attractive, and yul is an object. So that craving, which desires or wishes or hopes not to lose an attractive object, not to be separated from something which the mind finds is beautiful. The mind is attracted to it. So this is the first kind of craving. Next kind of craving is called jikse. Jikse. Jik means fear. Some of you may know Venerable Jikme. This is the jik in her name, and the May makes it negative. So she is Venerable Fearless. I love that name because she really is. Jik is fear. Jikme, fearless. Jikje, if you enter the Diamond Way, you may encounter Jikje, which is the Tibetan phrase for Yamantaka or Bhairava. The one who kills the Lord of Death. Anyway, Jikse. So, excuse me, fear craving. Fear craving. What's the definition of fear craving? Yi miyong la drelwar dupe sepa. So this is very close to this one, but we have our negative particles before different words. So this one is the wish or the desire to become separated from something that we find is unattractive. This is the wish to become free of some object that we don't like, is unattractive to us. Like when we're walking down the sidewalk and we see a little, someone had been walking their dog and they didn't clean up after the dog. So you'd see a little pile of poop on the sidewalk. We have the desire to be separated from that pile of poop. We do not want our foot to come into contact with that pile of poop. So we have at that moment fear craving. So we have these two going on pretty much like all the time. I did an experiment once with a friend. We wanted to do retreat, but we couldn't take time off of work. So we decided that we had these little books. There are 6 times books, but along with going through and thinking about vows, we would stop like every hour and just look. Is my mind doing Duce or Jikse? Am I desire craving or fear craving right now? Do I want to not be separated from something I like right now? Or do I want to get rid of, be free of something that I don't like? Because the mind is pretty much in those two states. Sometimes we're neutral, but pretty much we're always wanting or not wanting. Wanting to be separated from something we don't like, or not wanting to be separated from something we do like. So we did that, and it was really quite interesting to stop and take a look at that all throughout the day. We had a pretty good retreat that way. Okay, those are the first 2 kinds of craving. Now here's the third. Sise. Sise. Si. It's spelled, they're so similar, right? The only thing that's different is this vowel right here. Si means existence. Existence. The wheel of life in Tibetan is Sipe Korlo. Sipe Korlo. Korlo is the wheel, and Sipa is existence or life, the wheel of life. So sise is craving for existence. Craving for existence. This one, we come into contact with much less frequently than we do the first two. First two are happening like all day. This third one, the existence craving, only happens when, well, I'll give you the definition and it'll be clear. The definition is a bit longer than the other two. Chiwe se dakche ndok ki chikpe pongpo la sepe sepa. What this means is it's a craving which craves for yourself. It's pungpo. It means your heaps. It's your 5 heaps. Your basically your body and your mind. Why does it crave for itself? Because Chiwe Tse, at the moment of death, you're afraid, you fear. Dakche, that yourself will come to an end, be cut off. Discontinued. Che. You have a fear. It's a craving that craves for yourself, because at the moment of death, at the moment when this collection of body and mind is coming to an end, we have this fear, this immense fear, intense fear that we are ending. I'm ending. Dakche. So this craving asserts itself very strongly when we're in a situation where we're pretty sure we're going to die. Like, you may have had this experience before. If you were in some situation, like back in one of my earlier lives, in this particular body, I was a mountain climber, and I was rappelling down what they call a chimney, which is when two sides of a mountain, these rocks, like there's a little indentation in the rock, and they call it a chimney. It looks like the chimney of a house, like it's got 3 sides. It came down the face of this rock face, and I don't know, it was several hundred feet tall, and I was on a rope, thank goodness, and I did have a helmet on, another thank goodness, but I was rappelling down this chimney, and it should be, a kind of fun experience to go down this chimney. But the person who was holding the rope for me, he let go. He wasn't holding me. And I started falling uncontrollably. And my head was hitting back and forth on the sides of this rock chimney. And I was terrified. So in that moment, I felt this kind of craving. I thought that that was the end, that I was going to die. I didn't, but you may have been in a situation like that, where you thought you were going to die. And that feeling, that kind of craving is so intense. It's very powerful. So all three of those are considered the eighth link of craving. Those three types of craving: desire craving, fear craving, and existence craving are the link of craving. But that last one, the existence craving, is the one that triggers, is the big trigger for being reborn in a new life. So now we're going to talk about, well, what about that ninth link? It's called grasping. Grasping. And its definition is tsepa, deni, chair, pelwe, duchak, which just means the craving of link number 8, sepa, deni, chair, pel. It's increased to a very high degree. So as intense as that was in that moment of, having my head banged against the rock, the next link is even more intense. That's duchak. That's grasping. So 8 and 9 together, I mean, you could say it's, why didn't the Buddha say it's just one link? If craving and grasping, if grasping is just craving to a higher degree, I mean, why make 2 links out of it? But he did, because it's to such a high degree, and because it's more related to that third type of craving, that that craving for existence. It is all 3 kinds. It is related to all 3 kinds of craving. But if we're talking about what is it that triggers the kind of karma that's going to have us be born, to force us, to throw us. We talked about projecting karma last time. That throws us into a new birth. It's that third kind of craving for existence. So link number 9 is basically the same as link number 8, but on steroids, we say in English, but amplified, made bigger, stronger. So what's the relationship between those two mental functions? Between the craving for existence, craving for yourself, because you think that you're about to be ended, and seeing things as self-existent. What's the relationship between this craving for the self and the ignorance or the misunderstanding that sees things as self-existent? So we're going to go to, we could just say one causes the other, but we've got, like 20 minutes or so. We got to talk about something. No, so there's like one little stanza of poetry that of Master Dharmakirti's from his book that Geshe Michael pulled out for us to contemplate well. And this is going to get more to Alexi's question. The first line is Kelte Jik Sota Drel Cheer. Kelte means suppose, or if it were the case. Jik Sota. This is a peculiar phrase. It means it's ta, which is view. Sulk is a collection. And jik here, this is a different spelling. It doesn't have a saw at the end. This jik means that which can perish, that which can fall apart, that which can end. So this phrase, the view of the perishable collection, it's just awkward phrase. It's one of the 5 wrong views. And when they talk about ignorance propelling the wheel of life, this cycle of suffering, when we I have to go back there for just a second. When we see the blind person holding a stick, this is the first link. This is grasping to the self as being self-existent. This is grasping to, and here's self, what do they mean by collection? It's me and mine. It's me, Utpala, and my arm, my hand, my head, my thoughts. It's those 5 heaps. Thinking those 5 heaps are real. They exist from their own side. Utter blindness. I lost chat. Okay. So, if it were the case that the view, this wrong view of the perishable collection, thinking this set of body and mind has some nature of being what it is from its own side, drel means to be separated from. Like when we talked about that that kind of craving, the fear craving, chikse. And when we talked about desire craving, dute. That thing which we either do not want to be separated from because we find it attractive, or we do want to be separated from because we find it unattractive or repellent, usually, is to lose something you don't like or to not lose something you do like. Cheer, because so this first line is it's a little challenging without going to the next, so we will go straight there. The next line in the poem is Lam Dangpor Nisi Mengyur. And the only reason I have that N in there is because that's how you pronounce met when it's next to ngyur, mengyur. So lam means path, like in lam rim, steps on the path. And it is on dangpor. Dangpor means at the beginning. So lam dangpor means at the beginning of the path. And what this is referring to is something very specific. It's referring to at the beginning of the 3rd path of the 5 paths. And the 3rd path of the 5 paths is the path of seeing. And what happens at the beginning of the path of seeing is we have a direct perception of the absence of self-existence of me. That's what's happening at the very beginning of the 3rd path, the path of seeing. We explore to see where is this me that exists from its own side. And we don't find it. Instead, we find its absence. We find that that me is empty. We see directly its emptiness. So this first moment at the path of seeing, that's what, we can divide people into two. Those who have had a direct perception of the emptiness of me, and those who have not. If you're like me, I'm in the those who have not type of person, and it's very populated. There are a lot of us who have not seen directly the emptiness of me. And those who have are very few and very different. They're an entirely different kind of person. Once we have had a direct perception of emptiness, we're called a stream enterer. We will become free of being trapped in the cycle of suffering. We will escape the wheel of life. So what's going on at the beginning? Where'd it go? There. Si me. Oh, this is interesting, right? Si me. Si means existence or life, right? Here it refers to another life. And me, there is not. Here means to become. So with an A, this means all these three together, there will not be another life. So these first two lines together mean if getting rid of any kind of wrong view could stop your rebirths, then at the beginning of the path of seeing, the third path, you would reach a state where you wouldn't have to take birth anymore. But this is not true. But it's the beginning of the poem. Remember, Master Dharmakirti said the reason we have to take rebirth is because at the moment of death, the mind has desire. And the desire we're talking about is not just some like wanting, like, oh, I want to become, let's say, oh, I want to become a Buddha. Or I want to have a nice next life. Or I want to be free from the cycle of suffering. That if we would just have that desire, if we would just have that want, then we could stop the next life from coming. But that's not how it works. We can't just wish or have this desire to escape. We have to dig into that wheel of life and look at what it is that triggers rebirth into a future life. So renunciation, I use it here as an example, this wanting to be free of the cycle of suffering, as an example of desire, but it's also an entirely different kind of desire, in that mostly desire is based on ignorance. It's based on thinking that the object we either do not want to be separated from, or that we do want to be separated from, that object has the quality of being attractive or unattractive, of being beautiful or repellent from its own side. It's mistaken. Desire is mistaken. Renunciation, the wish to be free of the cycle of suffering, there's no mistake there. We're not making a mistake when we have a desire to be free of suffering. If we were to think, if something self-existent about the path to become free, then we would have problems. If we thought the wheel of life was the wheel of life from its own side, then we would have problems. It is as empty of being the wheel of life as Utpala is empty of being Utpala from her own side. That's a lot to chew on with only a few minutes left. But just to tuck that little morsel in your pocket and come back to it later. Because I want to talk about quickly 4 ways or 4 levels of how we focus on me, so we can identify which ones are problematic, which ones will be a trigger for being born into a future life in the wheel of suffering. Okay, the first level of focusing on me, let's see, do I really have, I think I can, oh yeah, we come back to that. I'm sorry, I'm talking to myself, not to you. That's rude. Okay, 4 ways, 4 levels of focusing on me. The first way they call the unexamined or unanalyzed. It's the example they give is that the Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, when he looked at himself, he had the thought, this is me. He wasn't, analyzing whether or not the me exists from its own side. It's just the simple me. That's my hand. That's called the unexamined me. That's one level of looking at me. The second level is seeing yourself as self-existent and believing what you see. So this is, you know, me looking at me, and I'm forced to see myself as self-existent. And because I'm forced to see myself as self-existent, I believe that's true. And because I see myself that way and I believe it, I do things while I may be trying to make myself happy, because I do want to be happy. I do things that only bring me suffering in the future. I try to protect this thing, this me, that I think really exists on its own. So I take things from other people, or I yell at other people, or I hurt other people, because I think I'm protecting me. I think that's what I need to do to be happy. So that's the second level of seeing. The third level of seeing me is I see me as self-existent, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it. This is the experience of an Arya. This is an experience of someone who is on the path of habituation. They have seen directly that there is no self-existent me. They know that to be true, that there is an absence of self-existent me. But they still see themselves as self-existent. They still see things as coming at them, but they don't believe it. They know it's like a magic trick. So this is the third level of seeing yourself. So seeing yourself as self-existent, but not believing it. The fourth level is, I mean, you can guess that the progression we're making here is that of an enlightened being. They don't see themselves or anything as self-existent. So, I mean, what is there to believe? They don't believe that they're self-existent. He hasn't, or she hasn't believed it since she saw emptiness directly. So the path of habituation is the movement from the third path, is the movement from the third level of seeing ourselves to the fourth level of seeing ourselves. The path of habituation is where we're moving from seeing ourselves as self-existent but not believing it, to the way a fully enlightened being sees themselves, which is they don't see themselves as self-existent. They see themselves as a dependent arising, as an arising based on, we have to be careful of words here, because it's not, they don't call it karma like they do for those who are in the wheel of life, but they call it a dependent arising. It is still, they are still forced to see themselves as enlightened, but they see the dependence. They see how it is a dependent arising based on past actions. Okay, which of those four ways of seeing? There's the unexamined way of seeing. There's the second, which is seeing myself as self-existent and believing I'm self-existent, that I'm coming from my own side. There's the third, which is seeing myself as self-existent, but not believing it. And then there's the fourth, which is not seeing myself as self-existent and not believing that I'm self-existent. So which of those four levels of seeing ourselves can be a trigger for the karma at the moment of death, which will propel us into a future existence in the wheel of life, in the suffering world? It's not the first. There's nothing wrong with the simple unexamined me. Because what's missing is you see yourself as self-existent in the first level, but there's no belief or no non-belief about whether that me is self-existent. It's unexamined. It's just me. You just see yourself as self-existent. So actually, there I'm talking myself into saying that this would also be a cause for that trigger. No, it's not seeing yourself as self-existent. Sorry, I had to think through this because it's not one of the causes. This is just the appearance of me. So there's no there's no conversation about whether or not that me is self-existent or dependent arising. It's just the simple me. But the second level and the third level, seeing things as self-existent and believing they're self-existent, and seeing the self as self-existent, but not believing that the self is self-existent. 2 and 3, those are the cause. That jiksokta, that view of the perishable collection, is the thing that triggers the next life. Oh my gosh, I thought I had all this time, and now look, I have to finish because we have no more time. Okay, next 2 lines. Last 2 lines. Plenchik kepa mapang chir. Plenchik kepa means the innate grasping to a self, which is the seeing yourself as self-existence. Every living creature has that. Bugs have that. Cats have that. People have that. Cheer, because mapang, have not gotten rid of. So what he's saying here is that if getting rid of seeing yourself as self-existent and believing yourself as self-existent. Let me back up. What he's saying is that if seeing any kind of, sorry, let me back up one more time. If getting rid of the mistaken idea of believing that the me, or seeing myself as self-existent, if that's all that it took to get out of the cycle of pain, to get out of the wheel of life, well then, the first moment we saw emptiness directly, we would never have to be born again. But that's not true. Because while we no longer have a belief that things are self-existent, we still see things as self-existence. Things appear to us to be self-existent. And that is what they call the panchakepa. That is the innate form of misunderstanding or ignorance. This is the form of misunderstanding that we've had over beginningless, countless lifetimes. That things appear to us that way. That is the innate form of misunderstanding. And then the last line of the verse is Pang naang sipa kalaye, which means, but if you were naang, if you were to pang, to give up, if you were to give up, then how on earth could you ever take a rebirth? If you no longer see things as appearing to be self-existent, then how on earth could you ever take a rebirth? Then you are free of the cycle of suffering. So while we're here in the cycle of suffering, there are two kinds of beings, basically, right? There are those who have seen emptiness directly and those who have not. Those who have not seen emptiness directly, we're, hopefully, if we've met the Dharma, then we're practicing these teachings and creating the causes to see emptiness directly so we can get out of the cycle. If we have seen emptiness directly, then we know we've got a few more lives left where we practice the fourth path, the path of habituation, where we become used to what we saw and we clear away the last obstacles to getting out of the wheel of suffering. And I'm so sorry I had to smoosh it up at the end there. But I hope that that's clear. And I'm sorry there are questions there. And I will make copies of the questions and answer in Telegram, okay? Copy, hopefully that worked. One time I tried and it didn't work. So if someone is skilled at making copies of chats, maybe you could also do that for me. So before I'm completely out of time, I'm in my last minute. Thank you so much, so very much for your interest in this course. It's really an honor to be with you. Thank you, live translators, for all you do. I rejoice every day in the immense good karma you create by doing the service you do. It's really inspirational to me. And thank you, Geshe Michael, for teaching this course. And I hope to see you again. I'll be teaching course 8 next, sometime later this year. But maybe we'll see each other somewhere else. So thank you.
Thank you, teacher. Thank you.
Рады. Спасибо. Благодарим.
Thank you, dear teacher Utpala.
Thank you so much, teacher.
Oh. Okay, bye-bye till next time.
Good night.